First, though, of course, all eyes today are on what's happening in New York, where Donald Trump will face these charges related to the alleged hush money paid to the adult film star Stormy Daniels. Now, the former president travelled from Florida to New York last night in typical Trump style as the story continues to dominate the headlines. Well, GMB's Noel Phillips joins me live from Trump Tower in New York. He's right behind you, isn't he? Well, not physically right now. He's not stalking you like he did Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail, but he is asleep somewhere in there.
He is, Ranveer, and I just want to give you a sense of the mood here on Fifth Avenue. It's relatively calm at the moment, but it was absolute chaos today when Donald Trump arrived. We had hundreds of police along the streets, also surrounding streets. There were protesters trying to catch a glimpse of this spectacle unfolding. So we're expecting all of that to be repeated in the coming hours when Donald Trump does wake up, come down, get in his motorcade and make his way 4 miles down to the Manhattan Criminal Crown Court. But let's just show you, let's just give you a vision of the Trump Tower. We understand that he's hunkering down on the 27th floor ahead of his court appearance later today, where he will be forced to walk the lonely corridors of a Manhattan criminal court and surrender himself and be arrested. But he will, Ranveer, be spared the indignity of having to be placed in handcuffs and also being put in a jail cell. He will instead be in an interview room surrounded by his Secret Service agents. They will not leave his side at all, and that is because, as the former president, he's entitled to that protection.
And we saw just briefly in the report there of, you know, all the drama of yesterday and him arriving and all of that, which I think was described by one of his aides as O.J. Simpson on steroids. You know, that's sort of what it feels like for America and the world, in fact. But we heard there the mayor saying, control yourselves. And he was directing that specifically, wasn't he, at certain politicians, but, you know, and those in the Trump camp who are seen as firebrands, who want chaos there outside Trump Tower and for that 4-mile journey.
It doesn't help, Ranveer, that Donald Trump, when this indictment was announced, initially took to social media to urge his followers to take to the streets and protest. So there is that rhetoric at the moment, and a lot of people, you know, wanting to make their voice be heard. They do not believe that these charges are relevant and Donald Trump should be in court. They see it as a witch hunt. And it is fascinating because we've been talking to a lot of people here, a lot of Trump supporters, and they gave us a sense as to why they turned out and as to why they are standing by the former president. Let's take a listen.
No matter what he does, they hate him. No matter Trump does, it's bad.
He does not deserve to be treated this way. He loves America. He loves his people.
Isn't it important that he is held to account if he has done wrong?
I don't think he has committed any crime.
Trump is like a once-in-a-generation figure. We will never see someone like him again.
I feel sorry for this country and for you. You are still sleeping.
Wow, the anger is so palpable, Noel. It's fascinating to see. Thank you so much. Let's talk now to ITV News correspondent Robert Moore, who's in Florida. Listen, Robert, we have seen you over the years reporting from North America. You've won awards. You've been at the centre of all the big stories. Can you just, for all of us, just put into perspective for you, where does today rate, and yesterday, these 24 hours, where do they rate for you in your reporting history?
Well, look, I would say, as has been pointed out on your show already, we're in unprecedented territory, uncharted waters. I mean, never before in the, you know, long and tumultuous history of the US Republic have we ever had a former president or indeed a presidential candidate facing criminal charges like this. So I think all eyes in America, in fact, all eyes around the world are going to be on that Manhattan criminal court. And, you know, what strikes me, having sort of tracked Trump closely for, 8-9 years now, and having watched his presidency, is that this is kind of where, bizarrely and counterintuitively, this is where he wants to be. He wants to be dominating, completely dominating the news cycle. He wants to be eclipsing his political opponents. He wants to be at the center of this kind of media and national circus. And so, you know, it is a real paradox, but I suspect there's kind of going to be a spring in his step today as he enters that Manhattan criminal court, because once more, everybody in the nation, and frankly, look at this show. Everybody around the world is
Yes.
talking about one person, Donald Trump.
Yeah, so that raises two questions for me. One is this bizarre idea, but clearly not bizarre to you, that he may use his mugshot as part of his presidential campaign eventually. But secondly, also that I'm confused then, because he obviously being ignored is his worst nightmare, right? This is probably, as you say, he wants everyone talking about him, whether it's bad or good. But his lawyers, I think, have asked for no cameras in the courtroom because it would turn the atmosphere into a circus. Now, isn't a circus exactly what he wants?
That is true, but this again it reveals one of the central tensions of Trump's life is between him and his lawyers. His lawyers don't want this to be a media circus, but Donald Trump does. He's every lawyer's worst client in a way, because he's coming back here to where I am, which is in Mar-a-Lago on the east coast of Florida. He's coming here later on today after the appearance in the court, and he will be holding a press conference addressing the American people in prime time at 8:15 local time today. And that's when the lawyers are going to get nervous, because it's almost certain that he is going to launch a scathing attack on the judge,
Yes.
on the prosecutors, on America's criminal justice system. We know this because he says it everywhere he goes. He will say, they're attacking me because they're coming for you next, that I'm on the front line, but the danger is to you. That's what he's going to tell his supporters.
And
a sense, yeah, exactly.
And isn't that part, exactly what you're saying there, that he has been saying that he thinks the judge is biased already? That's one of the reasons why at the very last minute, in the last sort of 24 hours, he's changed his lead lawyer, which is kind of an extraordinary thing to do.
Exactly. But I mean, the thing about Donald Trump, and we know this from, 30, 40 years of litigation in America's courts, is he's really only got one strategy. It's attack, and attack. And that's what he does. And he's trying to find the lawyers who fit his own kind of methodology, his own approach to this. I mean, this isn't a normal defendant. This is a man who doesn't have a sense of shame, but rather sees this as a political opportunity, one that's working out for him, because look, Ranveer, the whole Republican Party is kind of rallying behind him at this moment. So kind of mission accomplished, if you like, for Donald Trump this morning.
Are you expecting there to be, well, let's put it bluntly, violence, riots, protests that get out of hand? You were centre of one of the greatest unravellings of these moments inside the Capitol building. I mean, extraordinary scenes that are still shocking today, and you were right there, the only one there, the only reporter there. Are you expecting anything like that in the coming days?
Yeah, a lot of people are asking me that. Are we expecting a sort of a replication of, a duplication of January the 6th and the riot? And according to all the intelligence that is being received by the FBI and by New York City's police department, there is no sign at this stage that sort of the right wing, the militias, the groups that I saw on January the 6th, there's no sense that they're being mobilized yet. It may well be that people are just waiting to see what happens next, waiting to see what other indictments are happening. But, New York is not exactly friendly territory for the right in America. So it may be that everybody is simply waiting for a better opportunity to express their loyalty to Donald Trump. But this is a very polarized country, Ranveer. So it certainly has the potential for trouble, for tumult further down the road as we head into the 2024 presidential election cycle.
Well, we wait to see exactly what charges he faces today. Robert Moore, absolutely wonderful to have all your expertise on the show this morning. And thanks to Noel, too, who's live in New York for us, too. Thanks to both of you.